Alola trainers, and welcome to our second deck profile video. Thank you guys so much for all the successful feedback we received about the Darkrai video we did last week. So this week I figured I'd do something a little different. We are now officially in the standard season as of the time this video comes out. In the new standard, that is. I'm tripping all over my words today. But anyway, we are going to be going over one of my favorite decks in the new format, and the deck I just might pilot at the New Hartford Regionals in September. This is Tapu Bulu Vikavolt. This deck has a lot going for it. It's got a few things riding against it. It's got a real hard matchup against Metagross and against Gardevoir too, probably, which are two of the bigger decks in the format, but very fun to play nonetheless. So let's get right into it. We're going to start off with our main attacker, and that's 3 Tapu Bulu GX. I tried holding up the camera just there so you can read it. I don't think that's really working. Tapu Bulu GX is awesome. He's got 180 hit points. For 1 grass energy, he can do Horn Attack for 30. For 2 grass and a colorless, you can do Nature's Judgment for 120 plus. You may discard all energy attached to this Pokemon. If you do, this attack does 60 more damage. And his GX attack, Tapu Wilderness GX, for the same energy cost, it does 150 and heals all damage from this Pokemon. Very cool stuff. 180 does leave him in a spot where you can get 1 hit KO'd pretty easily by a lot of things in the format, but you can deal with that. With a Fury Belt, that brings him to 220, but you'll see that we can heal him easily with Tapu Wilderness GX and a number of other things. Well, I guess that is the only way to do it, but anyway, guys, this is Grubbin. Grubbin's just Grubbin. He's there to turn into Vikavolt eventually. He's got 70 HP. If you really have to, you can use Vice Grip for DCE for 20. You're never, ever going to find yourself doing that. We're only running 1 Charge-a-Bug. Charge-a-Bug will evolve from Grubbin. We're only running 1 because we're going to run a bunch of rare candies later on. You'll see that. And we are running... The other star of the show in this deck is Vikavolt. Vikavolt has 150 HP. He's an electric-type Pokemon. He has the ability Strong Charge, where once during your turn before you attack, you may search your deck for a Grass Energy and a Lightning Energy and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like, then shuffle your deck. This is awesome with our boy Tapu Bulu over here, because all we have to do every turn is attach 1 Grass Energy, and then we can Vikavolt 2 energies from our deck onto Tapu Bulu to use Nature's Judgment, discard all the energy from him to do 180 damage, and then the next turn drop a Grass Energy again, Strong Charge again, and so even if our opponent knocks out the Tapu Bulu, that's why we run 3 of them. Vikavolt, you can also attack with Electro Cannon if you have to, for 3 colorless and Lightning. He does 150 damage, and you discard 3 energy from this Pokemon. What's also great is that if you're in a pinch and you don't have a Floatstone or a Guzma or any way to get your Vikavolt out of your active spot and back onto your bench, you can always Strong Charge with him and maybe another Vikavolt that's already on your bench, or drop an energy and retreat. 3 is a hefty retreat cost, but it can be done if it's got to be done. And next up, guys, we are running 2. I've got 1 of each art here, of the Flying Flip Tapu Koko. This is the promo that you got in either the figure or the pin collection. Guys, this card is going to be a big part of Standard for a while going forward, and that's because he has a free retreat cost. This is an electric Pokemon. It has 110 HP. For a double colorless, he does Flying Flip, and that's the only thing that we're ever going to attack with him in this deck, really. And that will do 20 damage to each of your opponent's Pokemon without applying weakness and resistance for benched Pokemon. This is awesome because you can, if you have your Vikavolt with its massive retreat cost out on the bench, or in your active, you can Guzma up into your Tapu Koko and free retreat into your Tapu Bulu. If you can get Flying Flip out early in the game, that's awesome because we do struggle to hit some of the bigger numbers that we need to one-hit KO some of the most popular Stage 2 Pokemon in the format, like Metagross and Gardevoir. Tapu Koko, very, very cool Pokemon. Next up, we've got 2 of the meta itself, Tapu Lele GX. Tapu Lele, I don't think I really need to describe it. We all know what Tapu Lele does at this point. 170 HP. Wonder Tag makes it so that when you play this Pokemon on your bench, you can search your deck for any supporter you want and put it into your hand. Energy Drive is an attack that we can use if we ever have to stack energy, and again, we can do that with our Vikavolt if we need to. It'll do 20 times the amount of energy attached to both active Pokemon without applying weakness resistance. And we don't have Psychic Energy, so we can't even run Tapu Cure GX, but that's okay. We don't want to anyway. Next up, guys, we are playing a 1-1 line of Remoraid and Octillery. You can replace this with a Rangaroo to make some extra room in your deck if you want. The cool thing about this is once the deck gets going, we can actually run with nothing in our hand if we really need to once we have Vikavolt and Tapu Bulu out. But it is always great to be able to just draw until you have 5 cards in your hand if you have to. Again, I might take these out and replace them with an Oranguru so I can add a third Tapu Lele, but we'll see what happens there, guys. So it looks like we're going on to our supporter line now. We're going to start with Bridget. Bridget is super, 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 super awesome because Bridget was printed before we had GX Pokemon. Bridget lets you search your deck for 1 basic EX or 3 basic Pokemon except for Pokemon EX and put them onto your bench and shuffle your deck afterward. Meaning that we can search 3 Tapu Bulu GX, or we can search out our Grubbins, our Tapu Koko if we want, our Remoraid. You never ever want to do that with your Tapu Lele because putting Tapu Lele on the bench with Bridget's effect does not allow you to use Wonder Tag. So one of the strategies we have in this game is if we can get Tapu Lele out turn 1, we can search for Bridget, or even better, if we start with Bridget in our hand, we can get stuff on our bench and start setting up all the faster. Bridget's a very, very, very good card. Next up, we are playing 1 Brock's Grit. This is another card that I have on the chopping block. I'm not sure if it's going to make it to regionals or not. I do love the art on this full art, though. It's beautiful. I love that old school stuff that they did in Evolutions. Brock's Grit, of course, just lets you shuffle 6 in any combination of Pokemon and basic energy cards from your discard pile into your deck. I played Brock's Grit instead of Super Rod because I am playing 2 energy recyclers, which you'll see later, and Garbodor's everywhere, and the less items we play, the better. So Brock just lets us get all those energy we discard with Tapu Bulu's Nature Judgment back into our deck so we can keep strong charging and keep attacking. We are only running 2 Guzma in this deck. I've run 3 in a bunch of other decks. I think 2 is fine for this one. Guzma, super important. It's the new Lysander. Switch your opponent's bench Pokemon with their active Pokemon. If you do, switch your active Pokemon with one of your benched Pokemon. Very, very cool stuff. Self-explanatory why Guzma's awesome, guys. I'm just going to reorganize some of these cards here so you guys can kind of see things a little bit better in case you just are skipping to the end to see the deck list. Next up, we are only playing 3 N. I played 4 in my last video. We're only doing 3 this time. N's great in the early game because you can reshuffle that hand into your deck. It's great in the late game because if you're losing, you can shuffle your opponent down to a smaller hand than you have. Hand advantage is very, very important in Pokemon. I might bump N up to a 4th. I love N. N is great. I am running 1 Professor Kukui. You might ask why we're bothering to run Professor Kukui in this deck. Professor Kukui is great because you can draw 2 cards, and then during this turn, your attacks do 20 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. Tapu Bulu only hits for 180 most of the time. With a Choice Band, that brings us up to 210, but to get that magical 230 to 1-hit KO a Gardevoir GX, Professor Kukui, I actually might run 2 of these for that very reason, because of Tapu Bulu, when you discard your energy with Nature's Judgment, and have a Choice Band, and play Kukui, 1-shots Gardevoir GX. That's not the most viable thing to bank on, but it saved me in a few games testing this deck so far against Gardevoir, and Gardevoir is undoubtedly the biggest and probably best deck in the format, having won Worlds last year and being everywhere right now. In this deck, I am playing 2 Sycamore. I have 2 different arts. I'm sorry if that bothers your OCD. I just couldn't decide which one was cooler. Discard your hand, draw 7 cards. This is awesome. We used to run 4 in every deck, but that's not necessarily the case anymore. We have to play cleaner without BS Seekers in this format, guys, and we can't just be discarding all of our supporters. We can't be discarding all of our energies in this deck. So Sycamore is kind of an emergency thing. It's great when you have no cards left in your hand. You get that perfect Sycamore. There is no better feeling in this game, my friends. Okay, so next up, this is something I'm a little iffy on. Some people from Burbank recommended I run 4 of this, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. I am running 3 Skyla. This is cool because we can search out Choice Bands, but more importantly, we can search out our rare candies so we can get Grubbin into Vikavolt faster. Also, remember, we are only running running 1 Charge-a-Bug in this deck. So it's important that we get those rare candies into our hand whenever we have them. And that's why we're playing 3 Skyla. Again, not a decision I'm totally sure of, and as I continue to test, I'll keep you guys updated on what I decide. But that's what I'm doing right now. We are running 2 Energy Recycler. Energy Recycler, awesome for this deck. It's an item that lets you shuffle 5 basic energy cards from your discard pile into your deck. If you can play one of these every other turn, you can keep using Tapu Bulu's attack, discarding all your energies and cycling them back into your deck. We are also running Brock's Grit. I might replace him with a Super Rod or another one of these handy energy recyclers later on. Next up on our list, 3 Field Blower. Why 3 Field Blower and not 2 Field Blower? I made this decision because not only is Trashalanche Garbodor everywhere, but Garbotoxin Garbodor is everywhere, guys. That's the Garbodor from Breakpoint that shuts down your abilities. If you can't use your abilities in this deck, you can't use Vikavolt Strong Charge. There's no way Tapu Bulu is going to live long enough 3 turns to set up that Nature's Judgment. And then you have to discard all your energy and do it again later on. And we're not playing Max Elixirs. No way, guys. We need to blow away those Float Stones and those bodybuilding dumbbells and whatever else people might put on Garbotoxin Garbodor ASAP. So that's why we're playing 3 Field Blower, because we're that afraid of having our abilities shut down. Maybe that's not the right call. Comment in the video if you think I'm wrong. Roast me, my friends. We are playing 2 Heavy Ball. 2 Heavy Ball lets us it's an item. We can just drop it to search for a Pokemon with a retreat cost of 3 or more. Actually might bump my Heavy Ball count up because not only does Tapu Bulu have a retreat cost of 3, but Vikavolt has a retreat cost of 3. So we can search those Pokemon right out of our deck without having to discard anything like we do with Ultra Ball. It is an item. It does help Trashalanche Garbodor by being in the discard, but guys, we can't just not play items. I would just suggest that you are wary of how many items you play and be wary of when you attach your tool cards when you're playing against the Trashalanche Garbodor. Next up, we are playing 4 Rare Candy. My arts don't match all the time, guys. Get used to it. This has basically been in the card game forever, I think. Rare Candy lets you choose one of your basic Pokemon and play. If you have a Stage 2 card in your hand that evolves from that Pokemon, put that card onto the basic Pokemon to evolve it. You can't use this card to evolve a basic Pokemon that was put into play this turn. So turn 1, we get out our Grubbins. Turn 2, we Rare Candy into our Vikavolts. We start setting up our Tapu Bulu with Strong Charge. That is the idea here, guys. There's 4 Rare Candies. Very, very important. That's the reason we're not playing multiple Charge-a-Bugs. We're only playing 1 in case we need it. Here's another mismatching set of cards, guys. 4 Ultra Balls. Ultra Ball, self-explanatory. It's in every deck. It's been in every deck forever. Everybody plays 4. It's going to happen. Discard 2 cards from your hand. If you do, search your deck for a Pokemon, reveal it, put it in your hand, shuffle your deck. This is great. We can discard things to get our Tapu Lele and then get whatever supporter we want. If we don't have our Heavy Balls, we can search out our Vikavolts. If we're really in a pinch, we don't have any Rare Candies, we can search out our 1 Charge-Bug if we have to. Any Pokemon. It's great. I've been advised against this by Burbank, but I am running 3 Choice Band because hitting those magic numbers counts, and being able to do 210 is a lot better than being able to do 280 with Tapu Bulu. And again, remember the combo of Tapu Bulu, Choice Band, Kukui, which is basically our only hope against Gardevoir. Choice Band, very, very important card. Just 30 extra damage to your Pokemon's active GX when you attack it. We are playing 1 Fighting Fury Belt. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this or not, guys. Fighting Fury Belt was great last format before we had item removal, but now we've got Field Blower. So we can boost our Tapu Bulu up to 220 HP with our Fighting Fury Belt and stop him from getting 1-hit KO'd by a lot of things, but our opponent's probably just going to Field Blower away our Fury Belt. We're playing 1 just in case. It also can bulk up our Tapu Koko and our Tapu Lele a little bit. Remember, Fury Belt will only boost the power of your basic Pokemon. So you don't want to attach it to your Vikavolt. You don't want to attach it to your Artillery. And lastly, guys, we're getting to energy. And if all my mismatch cards have been bothering you, my energy are going to kill you. I like to shake it up, guys. What can I say? I am running 7 Grass Energy, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm running 7 Grass Energy, and I'm running Let me just get these all stacked nice and neat here on the side so you guys can see it all at the end. 7 grass energy and 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 electric energy. You might want to run another electric energy. You might want to run a little bit more energy in general. I personally do not feel that you need to run any more energy than that, because we have so many ways through Brock's Grit and through Energy Recycler, and if we choose to do so, Super Rod to get the energy back from our discard pile into our deck. And that's it, guys. 60 cards. This is Tapu Bulu Vikavolt GX. This is really, really, really early, guys. The rotation goes live September 1st. I'm recording this at the very, very end of August. So we'll see what happens. I really think that this deck is going to be a force to reckon with. I don't think it's going to be Tier 1. It's not going to be the best deck in the format, but it is a good play. It's a relatively budget-friendly play, too. You can get the promo Tapu Bulu in collector's tins, or you can get the single for, I think, right now, $8. This is a really fun deck to play. It has a lot of really good matchups. The only downside is that it has problems hitting some of the really big numbers that we need to kill, things like Metagross and Gardevoir that are everywhere in the format right now. But never say never. Guys, this has been a lot of fun. Of course, I've been your host, Professor Snorlax, here at PokeLore. If you'd like, we did launch the PokeLore forums. It's on pokelore.prophpbb.com. Again, that's pokelore.prophpbb.com. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at pokelore_TV. Subscribe to this channel and like this video so that we can keep bringing you content. We're only going to get better and better as time goes on, folks. And I think the next video I'm going to do is going to detail Volcanion in the new format. That'll be a lot of fun. But most importantly, the most important thing you guys can do for PokeLore right now is to go to our sister channel, Sardos TV. On Sardos TV, we've been working with those guys. We stream the video game every Wednesday night. Lots of fun there. We stream Pokken sometimes. Mostly we do Sun and Moon. We do some VGC battles. We do OU. We do all kinds of shenanigans. They also stream other Nintendo games there as well, and we're uploading our Pokemon podcast there, which is going to go live within these next few weeks. So that's a lot of fun. We're going to detail my journey through the TCG competitive season in 2017-2018. We're going to go over some stuff for the VGC as well. All things Pokemon, guys. We're going to hit it there. That's at Sardos TV on YouTube. I know it's weird. We've got 2 channels. You can deal with it. Subscribe to one, subscribe to the other. I'd love it if you subscribe to both, but if you don't, that's great.